meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life, because the Mets are really socking the ball, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody's coming down to meet the Mets, Mets of New York town. Oh, the butcher and the baker and the people on the streets, where do they go? To meet the Mets! Oh, they're hollering and cheering and they're jumping in their seats. Where do they go? To meet the Mets! All the fans are true to the orange and blue, so hurry up and come on down, 'cause we got ourselves a ball club, the Mets of New York town. Give 'em a yell! Give 'em a hand! And let 'em know you're rooting in the stand. Come on and meet the Mets. Meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life, because the Mets are really socking the ball, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody's coming down to meet the Mets, Mets of New York town, of New York town.
We are live. Let's go, baby. What is up, Mets baseball fans? Finally, we have a series that we can discuss where the Mets didn't just win, but this was the best series by far. I think we can all agree for the season for the Mets, in more ways than one. So, guys, before we get into anything, Richie, how are you doing, my man? I think I hear echo on your mic, so double check that real quick. But outside of that, what is up, Richie? What is up, everyone? Timothy, a great member here on the channel. Robert, Ryan, everyone, thank you all so much. Joshua, Dak, Carrie, the list goes on and on. LSD, thank you all so much for being here, guys. And Nate, we have plenty to discuss for our New York Mets and this phenomenal, and I mean phenomenal, series sweep against the Diamondbacks. And then also we will be previewing this series against the Orioles, along with taking some live callers like you guys. We'll probably take around upwards of 5 today, live callers towards the end of the show to ask a question or share a comment on either the Diamondbacks series or what is upcoming for the Mets and their schedule. So, Richie, how are you doing, my man? How was your weekend, and how good does it feel to be a Mets fan right now?
It feels phenomenal. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Hope you guys are enjoying yourselves and enjoying your weekend. Happy Mother's Day to everybody.
Yes,
and hey,
happy Mother's Day to everybody indeed.
The New York Mets are on a 5-game winning streak. We are coming off a sweep over the Arizona Diamondbacks. And, the only negative thing from this, 5-game winning streak is the news of Jacob deGrom. But the good news is it's not considered serious. He's going to be avoiding the IL stint as of so far. But Francisco Lindor is getting ready to go and getting hot. Jeff McNeil is doing his job, and they got that rat and raccoon business that we'll get into. We get, news that Pete Alonso shows us who he actually is in Donnie Stevenson. We got the bullpen showing that we are elite in the pen. They are like the unsung hero of this entire winning streak, I feel like, especially the first 2 games. It was an entire bullpen game. After Peterson getting lit up in game 1, the bullpen pitched the first 2 games, and then even deGrom did not go beyond it all last game. He only pitched 5 innings, and the bullpen closed the door and got him a W. So the offense is still not clicking all the way through, but the most important thing is Francisco Lindor is making a huge impact in winning ball games defensively, getting on base, getting home runs. How about that game-tying home run Friday night? Down 4-2.
Richie. That game-tying home run was amazing, but let's break him down game by game. I want to go down thoroughly into all of this, okay? So, again, my Mets and baseball fans just chiming in. Thank you all so much, guys. Maniac Matt, how's it going, my man? A great member here on the channel. What is up, Bobby? How's it going, my man? Yeah, we'll get into Harvey and everything there is to know. Julian, an Orioles fan. Good timing. What is up, buddy? So, guys, We're going to get right into all this. But before we do anything, if you haven't already, please make sure to smash that like and subscribe on. It really does mean a lot. Help us get to 100 likes by the end of the stream. You guys know the drill by now. Make sure not just to subscribe to myself if you like consistent Mets content. Make sure to subscribe to my man Richie at Mets Media. Help him get a 1K. He's so close. He just came out with the series sweep recap video if you want to check it out a little bit further as well on his channel, guys. But without further ado, let's get right into this series sweep. What a series this was for the Mets. And I had a lot of you guys in my chat over the past couple days saying, oh, we should definitely sweep the Diamondbacks. And I was like, you know what? To an extent, I agree, but you have to understand this is still a Mets team that has been heavily underperforming. They're just coming off of a couple days without Chili Davis and Tom Slater, and the emotions were still high. They came off of a series split against a strong team in the St. Louis Cardinals, but there's still a lot of uncertainty with this club. But what they showed in this series was resilience and something that we haven't seen all season long in a couple ways. And we're going to get to that here shortly. But let's start off with game one, Richie. This is where everything started. This is why the media has been talking about it, still somehow dragging this out. But let's get into it. Mets win this one 5-4, as you guys all probably know by now. And what a game this was for the Mets, because originally they were starting off slow. They were facing the ace of the rotation that is the Arizona Diamondbacks right-hander and Zach Gallen. Zach Gallen, originally Miami Marlin, then was part of the deal that I believe sent Starling Marte to the Marlins over the past year. He goes back to the D-backs, and he's been a stud since then. Had a strong game overall, gave up a couple walks, but he was looking solid. But the key to this game was none other than Francisco Lindor. Yes, we can actually say that now. Lindor did something, and he did a lot of things this series. But in this game in particular, he went 2 for 5, including 2 RBIs, which was including a game-tying bomb. I believe, what was that? Back in the bottom of the 7th, I think, right around there. He was phenomenal. Inning, yeah. Got that home run. And then you had Michael Conforto was 1 for 4 on the day, had an RBI and a walk. Pete Alonso, he did not get a hit in this game. I don't even believe he had a hit in the series, but he was 0 for 3 with 2 runs scored off of 2 walks. If there's one thing we can say about Pete, is that even when he's not necessarily smashing the ball, he is getting on base. He's not chasing like crazy. He's taking his fair share of walks, and I love to see that. That's what you want from your slugger. You want him to get on base a lot, especially from the walks, because of how intimidating he is to the opposing team, or because of the fact that his hand-eye is just that good. That's what we've been seeing lately. But then you get on to some other guys. Jonathan VR and Pilar, that connection has been so star-studded worthy in my mind. Really since the season started. Pilar had his woes. VR had his ups and downs a little bit, but he's been clutch. 2 for 3 in this game. In game 1, got himself an RBI and 2 walks. Tomas Nido, who got this start over McCann, was 1 for 2 on the day, including a run and a walk. David Pearson got shelled in this game, and that is the biggest takeaway in my mind, too, because for a Mets team that was facing a Diamondbacks club that going into the series has been one of the best teams in all baseball from an offensive standpoint with average and runs scored. But just like the Mets, not just this year, but years prior in 2020 as well, cannot score with runners in scoring position. The Diamondbacks have been struggling big time with scoring position, but they've been getting a lot of hits. They've had a really hot catcher in Carson Kelly. And going into this, they rock David Pearson here, and only 1.2 innings pitched. He's out of the game. This was worse than his first start of the season in Philly, where he got rocked in the first inning, gave up 4 runs. He was still able to at least get a couple more innings, but no, the Mets gave him a short leash. He was hitting batters. He was walking the pitcher. Everything was going awry for Pearson in the first inning and a half, and he was out of the game, giving up 3 runs just like that. So the Mets had an early deficit, but they end up coming back. Robert Gsellman gave up 1 run in 2 innings pitched. Tommy Hunter, who I'm really excited to talk about, Tommy Hunter, a guy who the Mets acquired in the offseason, a reliever free agent. I believe it was one of those scenarios where he ended up going to free agency, testing the market again because he didn't make the club, but nothing happened there. So he ended up coming back with the Mets. He pitches 2 scoreless innings. Then you get Jacob Barnes, who had 1 scoreless inning. Miguel Castro was scoreless inning. Diaz a scoreless inning. And then Aaron Lupa scoreless inning as well. And then the key to this game was none other than Mr. Mazika. Mazika, who plays catcher and can play first base, had his first ever at-bat in the major leagues. He doesn't even get a hit. He gets the walk-off because there was a throwing error from the guy running from third to home. They couldn't get him to home in time, and that is going to do it. So Mazika gets a walk-off without his first official hit. It was a little dribbler along the first base line, but the Mets win that one in dramatic fashion. And what we have to highlight here too, Richie, and I'm going to let you run with this, is the drama with, yes, the rat and the raccoon. This is what caused all the controversy. And don't get me wrong, when I saw it happening live, I was saying on Twitter, what the hell is going on? I'm
Yeah.
seeing forward, I'm seeing VR. They're looking right in the tunnel, and they just bolt. I'm like, why is everyone sprinting? So my initial reaction was, all right, maybe a fight, maybe something happened. Then you see it's between Francisco Lindor and McNeil. That is what the rumors were for the longest time. And what's kind of funny is I believe this started right in between the innings of the seventh, the top and the bottom half of the seventh. And if you remember, in the top of the seventh, McNeil and Lindor had a slight verbal altercation. McNeil, being emotional as he normally is a really heated player. They go for the ball, and Lindor ends up going for it when McNeil, I think, was calling for as if he should have had it. Lindor gets it, was hesitant, and the guy still gets on first with the throw being a little delayed. And McNeil was having some choice words, I think, to himself and Lindor after the fact. And then consequently enough, we see this transpire as we get into the bottom of the seventh. And then what happens after that ordeal has already began, Lindor goes out and absolutely rips a game-tying 2-run bomb. Fastball up high, wasn't even in the zone. You could tell that emotions were a little high. He was fired up. So they used an excuse after the game, as we all know, that, they were debating between if it was a sewer rat or if it was a raccoon, according to McNeil. It was obviously BS. We know that. Zach Scott said it himself, but the media blew it out of proportion. They didn't even talk about the win. So I'm not going to give this too much light of day. It was a silly story, no less, but this is something that was supposed to stay in-house. Trust me, this is not the first nor the last time Mets players will supposedly get an altercation, or any players in the league for that matter. It happens all the time when emotions are high. It's nothing personal. It just, they had some choice words. They were probably just aggravated by a simple play. Nothing more, nothing less than that. So without getting any further into this game, Richie, what is your initial reaction to it all? What a hectic game this was, but ultimately a massive win for the Mets, and really what is turning the tide to be a great momentum swing now in their favor.
Yeah, and we all knew that Francisco Lindor needed that signature moment in order to really break out, and I feel like that game was it. We were down 4-2. There was a crazy altercation that we brought up in the dugout, in the tunnels. We don't know what was happening, and then he follows it up, giving us a two-run home run to tie the game in the 7th or 8th inning, whatever it was, and that was the moment where Francisco Lindor broke out. The weight was lifted off his shoulders. He already got on base with a hit before that, so he snapped his 0-1 streak. But that was the moment where you saw the frustration come out of him emotionally. He was rounding first base, pounding his chest, just getting so fired up, and he was just going crazy. And then, of course, this is just a perfect example of New York media, man. They just won't shut up about the Rat and Raccoon story. Obviously, there was an altercation. They're going to ask a question, and Francisco Lindor want to make light of it, did not want to bring it up and, just glorify it, and he made up a story. And, of course, the media has to run with it. They don't shut up. They're talking about this more than the win, more than Francisco Lindor getting a home run and tying the game and then them getting a walk-off in the 10th inning. They don't even care that they won the game. They care more about clicks and about this Rat and Raccoon stuff. It was driving me crazy. I'm like, yes, okay, that was a funny, weird little thing about the Rat Raccoon, but how about Francisco Lindor tying the game, and how about them winning in the 10th inning, and how about the bullpen? Like, that's what drives me crazy about New York media, but it's not surprising nonetheless. But this was just a very overall great victory for the New York Mets to start off the series the right way. We were losing earlier on in the game. When I saw that we were losing 4-0 early, I was like, all right, we need to wake up. These bats need to really, bounce back, because we never know what type of Peterson we're getting on the mound. It's either he's dominant and he has 5 or 6 stellar innings with 8+ strikeouts, giving up 1 or 2 runs, or he gets lit up early on. And right when I saw him leave in the 2nd inning, I'm like, damn, man, our bullpen is going to be, the X factor for this game. And they are the reason why we won the game. I know Francisco Lindor, without his home run, we would have lost, but they held it down. The offense woke up and they did their job. And the defense did their job as well, even though they had that, McNeil and Lindor little scuffle in the middle of the infield. But, the media is going to run with any story that they can blow up. And it got nationally, recognition with Jeff Passan and everybody in baseball talking about that Rat and Raccoon story. I'm not going to give it that much light. It's just a light of things. They didn't want to get deep into it. It's the heat of the moment. Players are going to get, into heated discussions because they need to learn. They need to adapt. Like, listen, Francisco Lindor is a Met for 2 months, and he's getting used to everything. Him and Jeff McNeil, they're getting used to their timing. They're getting used to communicating. They're getting used to everything when it comes to playing short and second base. It's not easy to just get that chemistry right away. And obviously they had a miscommunication, and they were in the heat of the moment. So they got into probably a verbal argument in the tunnels, which resulted in the Mets to just sprint into there just to make sure everything was okay. And unfortunately for us, it was all over, the broadcast. And we all saw it. And we were like, wait, what happened? And then Lindor had to make it light of things and make it into a joke. and then the media took it and made it into a story where it shouldn't have got that much love. But the end of the story, I don't want to really talk about that Rat and Raccoon stuff anymore because I'm not the New York media. We're going to talk about the positives about this win. I know we're going to get into the next two games, but this was the moment Francisco Lindor unlocked himself, because the next two games of the series, he played very well, and you saw the energy. He is the heart and soul of this team for the future. And the amount of times you heard Pete Alonso and all these guys talk about Lindor during his struggles, like last couple of weeks, he said, I don't know why you guys are worried. In September, we're going to look back on this. We're not even going to think about Francisco Lindor having struggles. You're going to look at his numbers and say, damn, this man is a damn good baseball player. And I feel like April, we're going to look back on it and say, okay, Lindor struggled. And May is his breakout month. And it's baseball. You guys have to realize that people have their up and downs. There's slumps. There's natural slumps with even the best players in the league. It just so happens the timing was not the best for Francisco Lindor since it was his first month as a New York Met.
Exactly.
It was his introductory to the Mets. And it was just bad timing. And he was getting used to the media market, getting used to the city, getting used to his teammates. And it was just bad timing for him. And baseball is a sport of rhythm. And he was out of rhythm, out of sync. And just so you guys know, Francisco Lindor is going to get into another slump. Maybe not as bad as he did, but he's going to get into slumps. I mean, that's the natural part of baseball. And diehard baseball fans know that. It's part of the sport. That's why I was never worried when I saw Lindor out there. I'm like, okay, he's going through a rough patch. He's going to get through it. This is a really good test for his mentality. Can he deal with this adversity? Can he deal with the boos? And that's exactly what he did. He showed his mental toughness. And you got to be, if you're made for New York, if you can get through that, get that through that wall of everybody booing you and doubting you and saying this man's not worth $340 million and the whole city's not looking at you like you're the man, and then you turn it around and did what he did this series, that shows you the mental toughness, and that tells you that he's built for New York.
Oh, absolutely, man. Lindor's personality is infectious. We know that. His character, his leadership, all those qualities that really gel into what makes Francisco Lindor, that's evident. We've seen that day in and day out. It's just been the matter of him gain his right mentality back at the plate. He's been lost out there. That isn't a surprise. He's swinging at the wrong pitches, up and away, and then he gets a little chopper to third or something when he should really be having a better approach at the plate. He's been having that approach. We've been seeing that better. And something that I would like to highlight for sure is that Michael Conforto, I believe, said this in a post-game presser recently. Hugh Quattlebaum, who's the new hitting coach now for the Mets, has been really helping them focus on really shrinking the strike zone a bit. Really choking up on the bat, not swinging so much like as if everyone's a slugger, which they have. We're just sloppy swings. They're kind of getting down to the basics, and we're seeing that's leading to a lot of success. Even with this team not balling out completely offensively yet, as we've said, they're getting the job done now. They're playing better small ball, and that's huge for them going in the end. And now having a hot Francisco Lindor for the first time ever in this Mets organization, who knows what that is going to really segue into, but it has to be a positive, right? So with saying that as well, now let's get into the game 2 of the series sweep, guys. So again, also, I just want to add one more thing. The Mets were 3 for 7. We're running as a scoring position, so not bad at all. They left 12 guys on base, though. That's the only thing. They left 12 guys on base in that game. And there was one error by Jonathan Villar, and there was a beautiful assist by Michael Conforto and the outfield to drill out Asdrubal Cabrera trying to push for another base. So absolutely awesome job there by Conforto getting Asdrubal Assman, as we know and love to call him. Wish him the best, no less. But yeah, so the Mets still win that one in dramatic fashion in extras in the 10th, 5-4, thanks to, yes, Patrick Mazeika. Now getting into game 2. A score that we'll see for the next game as well. They won 4-2, and the guys that stood out easily in this game were Jeff McNeil was 1 for 4 with 2 runs scored, 2 RBIs, including 1 home run. So the night before, it was the quote-unquote, if you want to say it was the rat night, because Lindor was favoring a rat over Raccoon. The next day, it was that Raccoon night, and that was for McNeil hitting that bomb. So both these guys, while their altercation, get bombs in back-to-back nights for them. Lindor was 2 for 3 on the day, continuing to stay hot with the bat. Had an RBI, a walk, and also a run scored off of a stolen base all the way from first base. A terrible throw there to second by the catcher that goes deep into the gap. There was clearly given the shift, and it went deep into, I believe it was left center. And Lindor rounds second, he rounds third, he goes all the way home without a problem, and he steals that to score. That was amazing. Tommy Hunter, who I want to highlight, I'm going to be talking about quite a bit here when we get onto the stars as a hint, guys. But Tommy Hunter, another 2 innings pitch to start off this game because this was a complete bullpen game for the Mets. And he pitches 2 scoreless innings. You'll love to see it. Joey Lucchesi with the beautiful goatee, looking all cleaned up, trying to have a better outing. Gets just over 3 innings pitched. Had a couple guys come on base, but he was still able to get out of the jam. No runs scored. And then you had Jeurys Familia with a sub-1 ERA on the season. Had 1.2 innings pitched. No runs given up. Aaron Luke gave up a run. Did not have his best outing, but it wasn't a big deal. Trevor May closes the door in the end to win this one 4-2 with the save. There were a bunch of errors in this game. Unfortunately, James McCann just had a couple silly plays. It's something that he knows very well, getting catching interference to start off the game and then not sure too long after. Just a couple catching interferences where he had his glove 2 out. And it was a little bizarre. He knows better. It was just a weird thing. It happened twice for him, led to a couple guys on. And then Alonso had a fielding error as well. But Mets were 1 for 6 in this game with runners in scoring position, left 6 on base. So Mets only had 4 hits in this game. But again, they got what they needed to get done at the end of the day. The bullpen continued to step up. And again, in a series where you had basically back-to-back bullpen games entirely for the Mets, they shut the door down best as possible against one of the hottest teams in the MLB from an offensive standpoint. Just like the Mets have struggled with runners in scoring position, the Mets took advantage of that 100%. So, Richie, what is your stance here on Game 2 of this series? What did you like about it? And I will just add one more thing. Kevin Pillar is Superman. What we saw in Game 2 and Game 3, even with the collision, we'll get into that. This guy showed the defensive upside that he still has, even being around 32 of age in his career now. He can still be a high flyer. He had some immaculate stops there in center, full-on diving like Superman. Then he had a tumble for a catch. He has been absolutely lights out from a defensive standpoint, along with being hot with the bat. Didn't hit much in this series. He hit in the Cardinals series and towards the end of the Phillies series, but now he's making up for it with his defense. That is what you love to see. So what is your stance on this game too, Richie?
Yeah, Pillar was a beast in center field. We know that his trajectory of his career is he's more of an offensive-minded guy, even though throughout his early part of his career, Superman. He was one of the best defensive center fielders in the game. And now we're seeing that on full display, laying out for balls. You love to see that from Pillar. And yeah, Jeff McNeil got that 2-run shot to give us a 2-run lead. And I love Francisco Lindor. That play, the base running is spectacular. He got his first stolen base as a New York Met, which was his 100th stolen base of his career, and to end up being a run scored. A bad throw from the catcher goes into center field, and the awareness to go to third, and then understanding, picking up his third base coach to go all the way home, and he ends up scoring. And he also had a double that game, Francisco Lindor, and he also had an RBI single. So that's just another example of Lindor really breaking out. And I feel like if he continues to do what he's doing say he can do what he did this series for the next couple series consistently, that's going to be very valuable for this Mets offense and defense in everything. And when it comes to winning, the most important part of these games is to win. And that's obvious. And Lindor's impact on winning when he's playing well is astronomical. So it's good to see Lindor break out even more and Jeff McNeil go yard. Jeff McNeil filling in for Brandon Nimmo and that leadoff spot has been another good thing to talk about. He's batting over 300 ever since he's been the leadoff man since Brandon Nimmo's been injured. So that's something we got to keep an eye out for. When Nimmo comes back, is Nimmo going to be slided right back into that leadoff spot, or is Jeff McNeil going to stay there because he's playing very well? I love the 1-2 punch of McNeil and then Lindor. So we'll see. And like you mentioned, Kevin Pillar has been a very good backup center fielder for Brandon Nimmo in his absence, in defensively and offensively. Like you said, he didn't do that much with the bat, but as long as he's filling up, that center field with the Superman work. And, this is another great win. The bullpen is something special. Going into that game, I was like, all right, well, our bullpen was lights out Friday night. Can we do it again? I'm not going to lie. I was a little pessimistic in my head going into that game just because our bullpen historically has never been this dominant, and man, they are the catalyst for this. The Mets bullpen has the lowest ERA, I think, in baseball since April 22nd, I believe, or something along those lines.
Michael Mayer for Mets Mirage. He threw out that tweet earlier today. Great statistic. Yeah, the Mets are up on all opposing teams in the MLB from bullpen since April 22nd by almost a whole run. It's insane.
So that tells you.
While they've been having bullpen games, too, might I add. It's not like that they're using a lack of the bullpen. Most of our pitchers aren't going too deep into games. At most, it's 7 innings, but that isn't happening every day by any stretch of the imagination.
I agree, man. And that's the biggest reason for these wins. Like if the bullpen did not perform this weekend, I'm sorry, but we would not have won, especially because of the innings that they had to pitch. Like you mentioned, it's not like our starting pitchers are going deep into seven innings and the bullpen is just pitching 2 to finish off the game, or they go 6 and they finish with 3 innings. They're pitching the entire games. Friday night, Saturday night, deGrom pitched 5 and they had to finish with 4 stellar innings. So this bullpen is the reason why we're winning ball games, and the pitching is only going to get better through the course of the season because of the injuries, or rather they're going to get healthy like Carrasco, Lugo, and Thor. We don't know when they're coming back. We know that Cookie had a little setback, and he's eligible to come back May 31st, early June, and we're hopeful he'll be back in good form when he comes back. But then Seth Lugo, he's known to be our best piece of the bullpen, and look what we're doing. One pitcher in the bullpen I want to give some credit to is Jarius Familia, because he has a sub-1 ERA, and I feel like he's not getting the love he deserves. He's obviously erratic. Every time he goes out there, I'm definitely, a little worried because it's Jarius Familia. We know his history. He's been a Met for a long time, but he's been doing great. He has a lot of energy out there. I loved his when I think he forced a double play. I love his energy when they get a good play. And then Edwin Diaz closing the door. Oh, that was yesterday's game. We're going to get into that eventually. But hey, the bullpen was stellar. Jeff McNeil, 2-run bomb. Francisco Lindor scoring on a stolen base. Francisco Lindor getting a double and an RBI single. It's looking good.
It's looking good indeed, man. And a great breakdown as always. This series says, I've been so pumped. As soon as the series wrapped up yesterday, I'm like, I got to get rich. We got to talk about this now. So happy that this series sweep happened. And now shout out to my friend Asia here, a great member on the channel. Thank you again for the donation, guys. If you haven't spread some dono hype, make sure to give Asia some love here. And yes, I will be attending Wednesday's game. I'm going to expand on that further as we get into the preview of the game with Harvey coming. So again, I'm not going to expand too much further on that, but for you, I will let you know that yes, again, I will in fact be attending that game. I would love to meet you. I know that we tried last time. It just didn't work. So by all means, just feel free to let me know further information here on where I could possibly find you, or simply let me know in the comments following this stream. Once it is uploaded in the comments, just give me some further information. We will gladly make that happen. So again, thank you for the donation, my friend. But guys, thank you all so much for everyone chiming in. Please make sure to smash that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. It really does mean a lot, guys. Help us get to 100 likes by the end of the stream. So now we're going to get into the final game, the series finale between the D-backs and the Mets yesterday. And again, talk about 4-2. Those have been the numbers because the Mets win game 3, 4-2. Once again, it's kind of bizarre how that all ended up working out. But then we see here in game 3, and who stands out once again? Oh, yeah, it's Francisco Lindor. He goes for 1 for 3 on the day with an RBI single. Yeah, at least has 1 RBI at least. Conforto is 2 for 4 on the day, including 1 RBI. Alonso 0 for 2. So again, Pete, who did not hit at all this series, he's still getting on base. He had 2 walks on the day, including 1 run scored. Dom Smith ended up getting a clutch single to bring in Lindor towards the end of the game. Was 1 for 3 on the day. And Jacob deGrom, and we have plenty to talk about with Jake. I know we kind of alluded to already, but Jake was 1 for 2. He got a bunt single, took advantage of the shift. That third base side was open. He says, to say less, I'm going to bunt that thing down. Does it perfectly, and that ends up being a run scored. Beautifully done. And then you see Patrick Mazeika once again getting another clutch at bat. Doesn't even get a hit. He gets walked to bring it in a run. Like, are you joking, Mazeika? Mazeika has to be, in my mind, the first Met in history to have his first 2 RBIs in his career and with the Mets without actually having a hit. That, in my mind, is bizarre. How many times does that happen, man? That's nuts. But then you get on to the actual pitching performance of this game. Jacob deGrom does only go 5 innings, as you guys probably know by now. Gave up 1 run. He gave up 3 walks in the 4th inning, which was so bizarre. Only gave up 1 run, though, had 6 Ks, and then he was done after 5. He tried to go for another inning. He was throwing some warm-up pitches, but you could see he was still dealing with some lat tightness, and that is what's been revealed through his MRI. So a lot of people in my mind, including myself to an extent, I'm not against him being on the 10-day IL. Because, again, I know that you're going to have a so-so rotation for maybe, upwards of a week and a half or so. But at the same time, I much rather have Jake on the IL, have him completely rested. Nothing to worry about. But they truly feel that they don't need to put him on the IL, so they're probably just going to skip a start for him. So my guess is we're probably not going to see Jake pitch in the Rays series. That is my assumption right now. So we'll probably see Jake pitch sometime next week. I think he's done this week, though. So they're going to probably sit him, rest him for at least a series against the Rays and hope he's better. But I will say they need to be very cautious with them. There's one guy that you need to make sure that you do not push anything with early in the season, it is Jacob deGrom, your franchise-altering pitcher in this rotation, the best pitcher in baseball. So that's all I have to say on Jake's matter. He's going to be fine. I felt dead inside at first when I saw he was pulled out of the game, but when I realized it's just kind of more of the same tightness, it seemed like he just wasn't 100%. Okay, that's fine. Give him the rest he needs, damn it. That's all I got to say. But now getting on to the other pitchers. Miguel Castro pitches 1 scoreless inning. Jacob Barnes does not have a good game. And again, Barnes has been so up and down this year. He's had some really serviceable innings. He's won multiple innings some games and was fine. This time he gives up a home run to one of the guys that I said, one of the 3 guys we should look out for in this series, that being Asdrubal Cabrera. What has Cabrera done since leaving the Mets? He has kind of been a Mets killer, not just during his time with the Nationals, but now we're seeing again here with the Diamondbacks. Hits a home run in this game. Luckily, to no avail. It didn't give them the win or anything. But then Edwin Diaz gets his first 5-out save of his career in a New York Mets uniform and topped out on one of his highest velocity fastballs in his career yesterday at 101.6 miles per hour. He credits that to adding 10 more pounds into his body from the offseason. They said, add some more meat on your bones. We really think it's going to help you out with your velo. And it's feeling better overall as a pitcher. You know, you throw absolute heat. It takes a lot of stress on you. Add some more meat. I don't think it's going to hurt you. And so far, so good. So Diaz, who just has over 3 ERA, and the Mets won for 2 for 10 in scoring position in this game, including leaving 9 on base. So again, another game where runners in scoring position was not a good thing for the Mets, but it's also kind of in hand with the amount of times this team just naturally gets on base. It doesn't matter when it happens. They literally always get on base. They're always getting walked or they're getting hit by something. You know, they don't even need to be hitting a lot. This team always gets on base, but unfortunately, they couldn't get many runs out of it. So, Richie, before I turn this to you and ask your thoughts on this, I'm going to give a huge shout again to Asia for another donation. Thank you so much, my friend. That really, really does mean a lot. I really appreciate that. Stephen A. Smith, claiming to be a Yankee and Knicks fan, but he clowns the New York Giants. Like, what the hell? By the way, are you playing the Rays soon? Oh, please beat them up with a passion, I'm begging you. Oh, yes, Asia's a Yankees fan. That's right. That makes sense. So, Asia, thank you again for the dono. I appreciate it. It's funny to hear about the Stephen A. stuff. But I will say that, yes, we are playing the Rays after the Orioles series. So, over the weekend, we're playing the Rays. And for your sake, I really, really hope the Mets sweep that series. So, again, thank you, Asia, for the donation. I appreciate that. As always, my friend, looking forward to hopefully meeting you because I know that you work at Citi Field at Wednesday's game. But, Richie, enough of me talking. Give me all your analysis, all your breakdowns on this series finale. Let me hear it.
I got you. There's one huge highlight play from yesterday's game that you forgot to bring up, which was Michael Conforto.
Yes. Being
Air Fordo, whatever you want to call it.
Be like Mike, baby.
Be like Mike, baby. That play was nuts. When I saw it off the bat, I was like, he got him. He got Jake. All right, Jake, I see you, man. But then Air Fordo comes out of nowhere, snags it out of the air. Wow, Michael Conforto's been playing very good in right field. He's coming off a really good outfield assist. I believe that was Friday or Saturday night's game. He had out Cabrera at second. So
he had
good.
A stellar series.
And I love that Michael Conforto is showing up in right field because earlier on in the season, he was struggling in the field and at the plate, and now he's coming together on both sides. So that's a great sign. I got to give Michael Conforto credit because that was a run-saving play that he had, and then he followed it up the next inning with an RBI single with Jacob deGrom literally at third base. They already got a run, but then he pokes it to left field, and they get another run on the board, so it's 2-0. So my stance on Jacob deGrom, he pitched 4 perfect innings, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I have a feeling this is it, guys. This is going to be it. We're going to see the first ever no-hitter from Jake. This is it. I had a weird feeling he was dealing against a team like the Arizona Diamondbacks. I had a feeling it was going to happen, and then the 5th inning happened, and he got lit up, and bases loaded, no outs, and he still only gives up 1 run. That just tells you Jacob deGrom, he does not rattle under pressure, and when things get tight, he is somebody that just ups it another level. He forces them into a double play, and then they force him to a run, and then he strikes out the next batter. They only give up 1 run. He goes 5 innings and only gives up a run, and he actually gets the win. How about that? The bullpen shut the door. After the 5th inning, I was like, if the Mets can pull out a victory without the Diamondbacks coming back and tying it and give Jake a W, that would be huge because I hate looking at his record, seeing that he's 2-2 with the sub-1 ERA. It just doesn't make sense. So now he's 3-2. I know those stats mean absolutely nothing, but just because of Jacob deGrom, it means something to me personally because he deserves the utmost respect in the win column more than anybody else in baseball because the Mets do not give him the proper run support as we know. But hey, they got him that W. And yesterday's game was just another example of the Mets, providing impact defensively. We saw a crazy almost collision. Thankfully, that Pilar and Conforto are okay.
I'm glad you
I was
mentioned
worried
that.
because they dove into each other. That was another, potential Carlos Beltran and Jordan Cameron from what was his name back in 2006 had that
I
crazy.
know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah.
I literally looked it up the other day. In the chat, let us know who that collision was. It was Beltran and
I want to say too though about the collision. Did you see what actually happened to Pilar? Because
he got smacked in the face with Conforto's cleat.
Yeah,
and Pilar stayed in the game, which was a great thing to see, and that was scary. But hey, they got up and they ended up winning the game, sweeping them. The vibes are good. Mike Cameron, that's who it is. Thank you guys, appreciate that. That was a scary collision. That almost could have been just like that because they were both diving to each other. Luckily, Conforto was behind him, and we did not see that Mike Cameron and Carlos Beltran situation. Woo, that was scary. But hey, this was a must-win game because I feel like if we got this W, we're living on a 5-game winning streak. We're the first place in the NL East, and now the vibes are high. We have an off day today, then we have a 2-game skid against the Baltimore Orioles, and then we're off again, and then we're versing the Tampa Bay Rays. So this was a very important victory, especially with Jacob deGrom on the mound. We gave him the support he needed, and he did not need to go 7 or 8 innings like we're accustomed to from Jake. The bullpen did their job. We scored some runs. And Dom Smith, with his only hit of the series, came at the right time, an RBI single. So you got to give Edwin Diaz credit as well. His first ever 5-out save as a New York Met, like you alluded to, and he pitched a 100.6 mile per hour fastball, which is nuts, and he struck him out with the slider. Edwin Diaz is another huge X factor for this team. If we can get a consistent Edwin Diaz to close out games, is huge. And I also want to bring up, because we did not bring this up, it was Saturday's game. Trevor May got his first save as a Met, which was very good to see because when Edwin Diaz is not available to pitch, we need somebody else to come in and close the door, and Trevor May did just that. So he deserves credit. This entire bullpen deserves credit. It's a great time to be a Mets fan, guys, because the craziest part about this series is the Mets offense is still not where it's supposed to be. That's the craziest thing. The bullpen and the starting pitching, honestly, and Francisco Lindor and a couple other hits from McNeil were the catalyst for winning. But when this offense, when McNeil, Lindor, Conforto, and Alonso and Dom Smith, those 5 guys really start to hit consistently, this offense is going to be crazy on top of this pitching staff. Like, the vibes are great in Queens, baby. Let's go. I'm loving it.
Oh, and I would also just like to announce some breaking news. Thank you all so much, everyone in the chat for putting me on. Yes, Jacob deGrom is officially on the injured list. So contradiction. So kind of how I was saying, how just put him on the IL. It wouldn't be a bad thing. Give the guy a rest. It has officially been reported. It's kind of bizarre because we were seeing conflicting reports. It just feels very Mets. All right, just come on. Can we have one thing be one way or one thing be the other? So Jacob deGrom goes on the IL. Absolutely no problem. He's gone for 10 days, so he's going to be missing. I believe he's only missing 1 start because he just pitched yesterday. So not a big deal at all. We're going to see how this rotation does, however, and who they bring up. Jordan Yamamoto, you have to think gets the call up. Let's see if this guy gets a start soon. I don't know. I don't know how this is going to affect things, but it looks like it's still the rotation is just going to be a little different as we get into the Tampa Bay series. So that's going to be a very interesting one. But yes, guys, breaking news. If you haven't noticed already, Jacob deGrom has in fact been put on the 10-day IL, still dealing with some right lat tightness. So not a big deal or anything.
No structural damage.
No structural damage. He's going to be fine. Just give the guy a couple days of rest. Let him heal up. Let him be back when he needs to be back. This is not the time to be rushing him. Even if the Mets end up having a piss poor week, I don't care. I want Jacob deGrom to be okay. Because once he's okay, once he's rolling, I'd rather him be in this damn rotation when the Mets can back him up with runs. They did it the other day. He only had to pitch 5 innings to get a win, which is incredible. How many times does that happen? Literally never. But you want them to kind of be all on a float, and the only way for them to be all on a float is to further go out in the season to actually get more playing time, because so far they've been very up and down from an offensive standpoint with actually being clutch. So Jake on the IL, that is the breaking news to all my Mets fans just chiming in, guys. So with that being said, we're going to get on to our 3 stars of the series before we start recapping the Orioles and then eventually taking some callers. So I'll start with you, Richie. Who are your 3 stars of the series against the Diamondbacks and why? And before I go there, I just want to say again, thank you so much to everyone being here. We got one more thing. Asia with another donation. Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you for that. Again, shout out to the Yanks. They did something that I enjoyed this weekend, which was beating the Nationals. Not series sweeping, but they won this series, I believe, 2-1. So thank you, Asia. Tell your Yanks I said thank you. It's one of the few times you'll see me being positive about the Yankees. No, not even joking, but thank you so much. I appreciate that as they won that series against the Nationals. That helps the Mets. I believe the Nats are now 13-17 or 13-18 on the season. So I will gladly take that. And Ben, I want to say I felt like the team really came out as a group. Yes, they did. They had a lot of fun. I think that they came closer as a team as well. That's the biggest thing. I feel like the altercation with McNeil and Lindor really just brought them together. And one last thing, Richie, before we get on to your 3 stars is Trevor May. If you guys don't know, I don't believe it's come out yet, or maybe it has. Sometime today, according to Trevor May, there will be a new vlog on Trevor May's channel breaking down his experience as a New York Met. You will see features from other New York Mets, locker room access, all the 9 yards. This is our Trevor Bauer, but better. So that's what we'll be seeing starting today at some point. If
How about the Dodgers
already? So make sure. What's that?
How about the Dodgers? I looked at the standings last
Dodgers
night, and I was mind blown.
You know what? Right now they are horrendous. They have
like,
been the worst
what?
team in baseball since starting 13-2 this year. Crazy. Yeah. Trevor Bauer isn't even happy about it. He's pretty mad. So us Mets fans that enjoy the sorrow that is Trevor Bauer at times when he's upset, soak this up. It probably won't last too long, so enjoy it while it lasts. But Richie, let's get on with your 3 stars of the series. Let me hear it, and then I'll share mine.
All right. So my 3 stars are Francisco Lindor, Michael Conforto, and the entire bullpen. I'm sorry, I can't think of one piece of the bullpen. I got to give it to the entire pen because they did a stellar job. Francisco Lindor is my first star because we know that the entire month of April was a nightmare for him at the plate, and he was hearing the boos, and he needed a moment to really show that he is worth the money and he'll be okay. And that moment came Friday night, and he backed it up with stellar performances Saturday and Sunday. He had a great series, base running, defense at the plate, clutch, RBIs, everything, the whole 9 yards. Francisco Lindor is definitely the star of the series for me because if he gets hot, this Mets team is going to be 10 times better than they've been in the entire month of April because that's how good he is. When he gets going, he is something special to watch when it comes to every single aspect of the game. Michael Conforto, he did a stellar job in right field by throwing out Cabrera at second base, by just, holding it down at right field. He had a very good play in foul territory. I'm pretty sure he got a really good catch. And then that crazy Airfordo type of play when he robbed him of an extra base hit, helping out Jacob deGrom, and then he had an RBI hit. He was doing his thing at the plate. So Michael Conforto is my second star, and the third star is the bullpen, man. I mean, we talked about it the entire stream. The first 2 games was an entire pen performance with Peterson getting lit up, and we shut the door. We have the best bullpen in the league since April 22nd. That's a huge, huge thing for this Mets squad, especially like I keep mentioning without Lugo, because going into the year when I knew Lugo was out, I was like, this bullpen's going to struggle because he's the ace. He's the guy that comes in and really you feel confident with Lugo out there. But we're having guys bringing in a free agency that are coming in, doing the dirty work, guys that we're not even accustomed to, like Gazelman. I feel like a lot of Mets fans expected the worst with Gazelman. He's proving us wrong so far. Familia is doing his job. Diaz is doing his job. I almost said Trevor Bauer. Trevor May is doing his job. Castro, Reed Foley. I mean, all of these guys are just playing at a high level. So the entire bullpen's a star for me. So for my 3 stars, Lindor, Conforto, and the entire pen.
Hell yeah. I love that. Anytime you bring Michael in this situation for a positive, I'm all smiles, man. Michael had a great series. He wasn't insane with the bat, but again, that right field, that was Gold Glove. Michael
I gave
Conforto.
it more for his right field performance.
Yeah, and rightfully so. Look, if you're not going to be the best hitter all series, make up for it in your defense. And we saw that. Kevin Pillar was a great example too. I think that those two, man, the overall defense was fine. Dom and left wasn't really much of a liability. So, it was fine. That's all I can say. It was really, really solid, rock solid. And from center to right, man, that, in my mind, if that could be more consistent this year, again, Kevin Pillar won't be starting every day. But I will just say this about the outfield before I share my 3 stars, guys. Kevin Pillar has done every single thing he possibly can to demand more playing time with this team. What he has done, not just as a hitter from the end of the Phillies series and Cardinals series, and also gained some clutch moments, not so much with the bat, but defensively now that we've seen. The Superman is still alive and well in Kevin Pillar. We might not see it on a daily basis like you used to back in 2015 Blue Jays days, but he's doing all he can. And Dom Smith, this guy, as much as I love Dom, and I said this on Twitter yesterday, Dom has been struggling mightily with the bat. It seems like when it comes to breaking balls, he is just really not having a good day against them. So, if Dom Smith continues to struggle mightily with the bat, you'd have to wonder how much more time is Dom going to be getting every single day in left versus having Pilar actually possibly getting some starts or just having Pilar come in halfway through the game for Dom. We've seen those late game replacements for Dom Array and Leftwood on more among some others when they do a double switch. But if Pilar keeps up this pace right now, he has every reason in the world to be justified playing more than Dom. Because if Dom doesn't make up for it his bat, what does he have? Because Dom is not a left fielder. The only reason why you have Dom in this lineup is for his offensive production. And if he doesn't produce offense, then there's a problem. So I'm just going to leave that to you guys in the chat. Kind of talk amongst yourselves how you feel about that. It's going to be interesting to see if Dom can kind of start to really get more consistent, be the Dom of 2020. Because so far, we just haven't seen that on a more consistent basis. Like Pilar's been solid. He really has been. But now let's get on to my 3 stars. And they're pretty similar to yours, but I want to start off. My number 3 star is Tommy Hunter. So I singled out Tommy Hunter in particular because Tommy Hunter, a guy who just made his Mets debut during the series, pitched back-to-back days in uncomfortable positions in tight games, including being an opener in the series finale. Pitched 4 total innings in this series, gave up no runs. That's impressive to me. Tommy Hunter, shout out to you, my man. I loved his post-game presser too. Apparently, according to many in the Mets clubhouse going back in the spring, he was like the funniest guy in the clubhouse. You can tell that he was dope. He was like, of course I want to stay in. I was pitching a no-hitter, like to start off the series finale. I'm like, that's great. I love this guy. So Tommy Hunter, shout out to you, my man. Great game, 4 innings pitch, no runs given up. My second my second star rather is going to be Patrick Mazeika. Again, talking about clutch, Mazeika gets 2 RBIs for his first ever at-bats as a New York Met and his MLB career, might I add, and doesn't even hit the damn ball for an actual single, for a base hit, and he still gets 2 runs scored, and one of them was a game winner in the game opener against the Diamondbacks Friday night, I believe. So fantastic stuff there by Mazeika. Loving that, and he's been helping Jeff McNeil's approach. If you guys don't know, Mazeika is kind of Jeff McNeil's hitting guru. When you go back to McNeil in the minors, Mazeika's known him very well because Mazeika's been in the organization a bit. And apparently every single time that McNeil goes through his slumps, he directly asks and reaches out to Mazeika, even when he's still in AAA, because Mazeika knows his swing better than anyone else, according to McNeil. That is very interesting. I did not know that. So shout out to Patrick Mazeika, doing a lot of things, not just for the team, but not just for himself with his production, but also with one of the best hitters in this lineup in Jeff McNeil, trying to get him back afloat, the 300 average that we all know, love, and covet. Now, my first star, I don't even need to say anything. It's Francisco effing Lindor. This guy finally broke out. He got himself 5 for 11 in the series, just batting under 500, a home run, 4 RBIs, a stolen base for a run scored. Sign me the hell up. Francisco Lindor is here, and I want to give a big shout out to my man, Vincent. He's a guy, a subscriber on the channel, who's a Phillies fan, no less. I believe from 2 posts ago in my community tab, I was saying how Lindor's heating up after the first game, and Vincent said, let's pump the brakes on saying he's heating up after just 1 game, like 1 hit. He goes on to just be fantastic for the remainder of the series. So take that, Vincent, for whenever you watch this. I just thought that was funny. All love, buddy. But yeah, so those are my 3 stars. So is there anything that you'd like to add on to that, Richie, before we get into the series preview against the Orioles?
Yeah, you reminded me that I called this Francisco Lindor resurgence. I said that he's going to continue his struggles against the Cardinals, and then he's going to break out against the D-backs. So I'm proud to be correct. Hopefully he can keep this up, and this can be, more of a consistent Francisco Lindor that we see at the plate, man. There's nothing really too much else to say with that. I think he's been spectacular defensively all year. Now it's time for him to become spectacular at the plate.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, look, if we get more relaxed, Mr. Smile, good things are going to happen. So Francisco Lindor, shout out to you, my man. We all love you, and all the haters out there. I get it. If you're emotional, I do. But you guys, you're almost like jumping on a bandwagon at this point. You only support the team when they're doing well. Come on. You got to be here through the highs and the lows. All the haters screaming, oh, Francisco Lindor is the biggest bust, are all now starting to flip the coin. All right. I'm watching you. I know who you are in the comments. Let's get on to the Orioles preview,
Exposure.
Guys. So this is actually going to be I think a decently more difficult series than what the eye will tell you. So Baltimore Orioles, what do you think of? You think of normally a bottom feeder team. That may be true, but we are facing a Baltimore Orioles team in a 2-game set where they haven't been playing terrible baseball. They're currently 15-19 on the year, but the pitching matchups are what's going to be most interesting. We will get into that shortly if you guys don't know already. But to start off, what is there to know about this Orioles series? Well, the pitchers are not confirmed yet. They're still to be determined according to the Orioles, but I did my calculations, and as long as there are no problems here, it looks like game 1 is going to be Marcus Stroman on the mound for our beloved New York Mets, facing off against John Means tomorrow night. If you guys don't know, John Means is kind of one of, if not the best pitcher in all the AL right now, a southpaw who just pitched a damn no-hitter. making the Seattle Mariners look stupid just a couple days ago. He will be on the mound for the Orioles. So that is going to be a very tall task for the Mets. We'll see how that goes. I'm honestly not feeling all that confident because even though the Orioles are the Orioles, John Means has been money every single game this year. He has not had a terrible outing at all yet. We'll see if the Mets can get clutch jump on him, but that will be a tall task. He's currently 4-0 on the season with a 1.37 ERA, facing off against a Mets team that has not seen many southpaws yet at all this season from a starting pitching perspective. So remember that, guys. Now get on to Game 2. Game 2 is the game that I will be attending. So, guys, I will be doing a live stream during, in-game, and probably post-game as well. I'm going to try for Game 1 against John Means, as long as hopefully the Mets have a good game. We will be hopefully doing a post-game. I'm going to see if I could get some other Mets people that you guys know quite well in there for the post-game, should it be hopefully a victorious one. But Game 2, I will be in attendance. Wednesday's game at 12:10 p.m. Eastern time. It'll be Mr. Taijuan Walker coming off of his best outing, not just as a New York Met, but arguably of his career, pitching 7-inning, 1-hit, 0 earned run ball a couple days ago, facing off against, yes, we all know him, Mr. Matt Harvey. The Dark Knight returns, folks. Harvey is scheduled to make his return to Citi Field for the first time since the Mets traded him away years ago when he was sent to the Reds. Yeah, it's going to be crazy. It really is. I simply cannot wait. So, guys, if you are in attendance, if you will be attending this game, please make sure to let me know. I would love, and I mean love, to meet you guys at the game, if possible, either before or during the game. If you guys just catch me roaming around or something, I will probably be vlogging throughout the game as well, and I'll be posting that vlog hopefully the same day, later in the day, once I am back from New York, because I don't reside there. So I'll be vlogging at the game. It's going to be fun. Hopefully a victorious one for the Mets as they face off against their former friend, now foe, and Mr. Matt Harvey. So that'll be a big game. But when we get on to the hitters, the key hitters that I want to make sure that you guys know very well going into the series, there are 3 guys that stand out to me. Starting off, it is by far the best hitter for the Orioles from an average standpoint. That is Cedric Mullins. And it's funny, shout out to some of you guys you might be watching. Some of you guys suggested, should the Mets go after Cedric Mullins in the offseason for center field help? And I did not have a great background on Cedric, and I'm glad that I do now because he's really been balling out. He has a .313 average, 6 home runs, 12 RBIs, 4 stolen bases, and a just over 900 OPS. Trey Mancini, another guy we all know. We all love Trey Mancini. Richie, if you don't know, Mancini was battling cancer over the past year or so, has now battled back fully. He is making his return to the MLB, has had so far a strong season. Not great with average, but really getting a lot of guys in. Has a .244 average, 6 home runs already, 27 RBIs for Trey Mancini. He has been one of the better hitters for the Orioles for the past couple years now, and so happy to see him back and hitting the ball well. 733 OPS. And then my third hitter, he's not doing great when it comes to average this year, but he is a New York Mets killer, a guy that the Mets were in on in the offseason, towards the end of the offseason. That is, yes, Maikel Franco. The third baseman has a .210 average currently on the year, including 3 home runs and 18 RBIs, and has just over 600 OPS. But he's also historically one of the bigger Mets killers that the Mets have seen over the past half decade. So those are my 3 top hitters that we should be watching. And again, thank you all so much to my Mets and baseball fans just chiming in, guys. It means a lot. But before we get any further, Richie, what is your stance now on this upcoming series against the Orioles? Are you excited to see the Dark Knight return to Citi Field? Let me hear it.
Of course, man. I was trying to go to the game actually Wednesday to see the Dark Knight, but I couldn't get in my friends to go. But yeah, tomorrow is going to be an interesting game with Means on the mound. I'm expecting Dom Smith to be sitting because usually he does against lefties, and we'll see what the lineup will consist of. Maybe it's Pilar in left and Almora will get the start in center field. We will see. But I think it's going to be interesting because Means is coming off a no-hitter. Can this offense start hitting good pitching? Because sometimes in the past couple of weeks, we've struggled against not so good pitchers. So what can we do against a great pitcher who has been one of the most consistent pitchers in the league so far this season? So it's going to be interesting. We have not seen a lot of southpaws this year, as you alluded to. And also, how's the pitching going to do? I feel like our 2 best pitchers are on the mound outside of Jacob deGrom for this 2-game skid in Marcus Stroman and Taijuan Walker. So I'm very comfortable with that. Luckily, we have a day of rest today because of the bullpen. They've been very busy. They've been pitching a lot of innings, so it's good for them to get some rest. And hopefully Stroman and Walker can go deep in their games so we can not really rely on our bullpen. Even though I'm confident in the bullpen, I just don't want to overwork them. And that's the one thing I'm hopeful that Stroman can at least go 6 and Walker can at least go 6 minimum, and then give the bullpen, 3 innings and 3 innings. And I'm confident that we can get the W's in both games. I think the X factor for the first game is to be getting run support off of Means. And then I love Matt Harvey, always respected him. I'm not one of those Mets fans that root against him. I actually root for his success because I just I've always loved Matt Harvey, and but I hope we light him up when it comes Wednesday. So I'm expecting a series where we should at least win one of these games, if not both. And we're coming off we're on a 5-game winning streak. So if we can somehow get both of these games, get a 7-game winning streak going to Tampa, woo, we'll see. We're first place in the division, and we got a long season to go. But I have a really good feeling about the month of May for the New York Mets. And this is going to be a very crucial 2-game skid against the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah, it's going to be a crucial game, 2-game skid. And again, guys, I know that normally when you think Orioles, you think it's going to be a cakewalk, but I just don't. I just don't feel that way. Not with John Means on the mound. And normally it wouldn't matter too much, but it's only a 2-game set. So if the Mets get shut down by Means, which very well could happen tomorrow, again, I hope I'm wrong. I do. But if he does, in fact, do that, then you can't win the series. At best, you can split it. You can tie it. That's it. So just keep that in mind, guys. The pitching will be decent for the Orioles. It'll be star-studded probably tomorrow. We'll see how the Mets do. And again, thank you all so much for my Mets and baseball fans just chiming in. I really, really appreciate you guys. I see Alb. I see Matthew. I see Dave. Dave, I'll definitely check out my P.O. box. Thank you, my man. If you sent something, that does mean a lot. I'm excited to check that out now. I anticipate Yamamoto will be here with deGrom. Yes, I agree. I think with deGrom out, Yamamoto is set to be here. And Means has been fantastic. He really had. And look, give credit. I was rooting for Means. I was watching on my stream the other day, and my Mets stream. I was watching my phone, see him go for the no-hitter. I was like, oh my God, is he actually going to do it? And he did it. So hats off to John Means, man, but I will not be rooting for him tomorrow. So guys, help us by smashing that like and subscribe button. We're getting a lot closer to 100 likes, so help us get there by the end of the stream. It means a lot. So Richie, how much more time do you think you have to chat in here, buddy? Because we are going to be getting on to a couple Q&A with the viewers.
I'm good for the Q&A.
Okay, sweet. All right, guys. So here, now what we're going to do now is we're going to be taking some live callers, guys. So we'll be taking upwards of 5. I'm going to cut off on their 5 just because we're dealing with a little bit of a time crunch today. So I'm going to be giving the stream link to you guys shortly. So one, if you guys join the stream, please make sure that your name is the same name as your actual YouTube name, whatever it is. If it's not, then I'm just not going to talk to you. I'm sorry. I want to make sure that people could be held accountable. God forbid if anyone acts up, because people have had a tendency to do that already in the past. And I don't feel like having to cut away in all the streams. So guys,
I do that on my other channels. And I'm just going to quickly run to the bathroom. So I'll be back in like a minute.
Perfectly fine. So, guys, we're going to be giving the stream link in here in a second, guys. So please make sure that if you are, in fact, please, 1, be respectful. Don't be stupid, all right? Because we will expose you 1,000%. And 2, just make sure that you're asking something Mets related. Ask about what we're talking about. Was it the Diamondbacks series? Is there just a statement that you want to give off about the Diamondbacks series? The Mets overall, if you have a comment or question for either of us, by all means, that's fine. Just make it fairly short because we will be hearing from multiple people before we get to the end of the stream. So that is what we're going to be doing now, guys. I'm going to be sharing the link with you all, so bear with me just 1 second. But outside of that, thank you all again for being here, guys. This has been a fantastic stream. I'm so pumped for the series against the Orioles starting tomorrow. I really think it's going to be a great one, and I'm just excited for what the Mets are going to do for the remainder of the week, because if you guys don't know, I'm going to be covering basically every single game. Every single game, literally. I'm going to be covering the Orioles game, probably a post game on Tuesday as well. I'll be attending the game with Harvey on the mound on Wednesday, so try to look out for me there. Just look out for the short Mets kid with the black Mets hat. Maybe I'll have the denim jacket on because it'll be chilly out. And also make sure to check out that vlog that will hopefully be out later that day, if not Thursday. And then I'll be streaming for more than likely the entirety of the Rays series over the weekend. So with that being said, now we are going to get into our live callers. So I'm going to be sharing the link now. Here we go. We're going to invite, copy that. Okay, perfect. And now we're going to get everyone in.
We getting some callers in now?
Yeah, we're about to. I just put the link in the stream. And thank you so much, Asia, again, for the donation, my friend. That means a lot. Tyler, what do you think about Tim Tebow back in the NFL? I love it. I absolutely love it. I think sign me the hell up. All I say to Tim is, Tim, why didn't you do this years ago, my man? You know, well, you
did. He was on the. I remember all my Jets fans in here. I know Tim Tebow very well when it comes to football. Playing tight end, he actually tried to play tight end with the Jets. Didn't go well at all.
I know, it's crazy, but look, regardless, it is kind of funny to see that happen. But other than that, we do see that I already got some callers in. Thank you guys. So again, just make sure that if you are in fact joining, guys, that you are, of course, using your name that you normally use here in the stream. So we'll be taking upwards of 5 people here to ask questions. But yeah, man, it's crazy. And again, Asia, thank you so much for the donation. You've been beyond generous this entire time. But it is nuts knowing in my mind that Tim Tebow's back, just on a tangent, guys, because if he did that earlier, I think he just didn't want to because he really felt, I'm a quarterback. I'm never going to be anything else but a quarterback. But then when that kind of fell through, he's like, all right, let me venture out, try baseball again. Goes to the Mets because, of course, the Wilpons are the one team to take Tim Tebow for all the PR. And then now he's back in the NFL with the Jaguars. So we'll see how he does with Trevor Lawrence. I mean, hey, he has a good quarterback now. So we'll see. But all right, guys, so we're going to start taking some callers. So again, if you want to join, please make sure to just click that stream link. And just when you enter the stream, just make sure that you type in your YouTube name if you would like to talk. So we're going to get the first guy here in 1 second, guys. That is going to be KTM. What is up, buddy? How's it going?
What's up, man?
Oh, what questions or comments you got?
I think he's muted.
Sorry, hey,
There you
I
go.
wanted to ask you, what do you feel about the how Lindor kind of getting out of the slump and the Mets starting to get hot, and I just read that deGrom's on the IL. What do you feel about those questions?
Awesome. Well, great questions, buddy. Again, I appreciate you chiming in, and let's go Mets as always. Awesome questions. So to answer that, I'll start with me, and then I'll share you. I think we already alluded to this, but it's been awesome. It's been fantastic seeing Lindor finally break out of the slump. It's been needed. I feel like most of us Mets fans have just been really upset knowing that it hasn't happened yet. So it's finally breaking out. I feel great about it. I think that this is the start of a lot of great things to happen for the Mets going forward with Lindor in this lineup. And if he stays hot, man, he's infectious. We know that. So I think it's going to be a domino effect with the remainder of this club. So what do you have to say about that, Richie? Anything further? And then same thing with Jacob deGrom IL news. Do you think that's better for him than staying with the team right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think Francisco Lindor breaking out is going to do wonders for the team for the next couple of weeks and for the rest of the season. It was just a matter of time, and I felt like he needed that moment to really break out, and he had that moment with that 2-run bomb. And then when it comes to Jacob deGrom on the IL, I'm happy the news is no structural damage, and they put him on the IL to give him rest. They need to be precautionary. There's no need to rush him back. We're in the month of May. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Baseball season is extremely long. So to put Jacob deGrom on the IL and to tell us that everything's okay, it's just tightness, nothing too serious, it gives me a lot of confidence. I got a lot of confidence in the starting rotation around him and the bullpen to do the dirty work when he is on the IL. So, it's the good news that there's nothing to be worried about long-term with Jacob deGrom's injury. It's just short-term. Let him rest. Let him get 100% healthy because Jacob deGrom is the prize of this team. He's the gem. He's the GOAT. The GOAT. Give him every single ounce of rest he needs.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. I couldn't have said it better. And shout out to you, my man. Thanks so much for chiming in again. So, guys, we'll be taking a couple more callers now. So if you would like to chime in, share a question, that's fine. Or if you guys just want to start asking some questions here in the chat, you can gladly do that too. We'll do it either way. So, again, if you guys end up chiming in, that's fine. If not, we'll be going for, I'd say, how much more time do you think you'd want to go, Richie, before you have to head out for your Jet stream? And we'll play it by there.
I can go until like 3:30, the latest.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Yeah. So we'll go for the next 15 minutes or so. So we'll start answering questions now. If you have any here in the chat, I see we have some conversations going back and forth regarding yourselves. That's kind of funny. So if you want to ask any questions, go ahead. And if you would also like to join the stream, you're more than welcome to do that as well. So I'll put the invite link one more time in case anyone would like to join and ask a question or two for our Q&A. So here, join the stream. All right, and Richie, let me know if you see any comments in the chat that you would like to answer. I'm going to pin this for everyone so that way they can see it. All right, what's going on with Betances and with the Mets bullpen playing good? Where does he fit? That's a great question. So to answer that, it doesn't look like, in my mind, Betances is ever, and I literally mean like ever, going to pitch for the Mets again, because he's currently, I believe he's on the 60-day. He was originally on the 10-day IL, but then he was transferred to the 60-day IL. Betances just hasn't been the same, unfortunately, and it's a shame, but he's a shell of what he once was since his injuries that led to the end of his career with the Yankees. So I honestly don't think Betances is ever going to pitch a game with the Mets because he's clearly on the outside looking in when it comes to the bullpen right now. Wouldn't you agree with Richie?
Yeah, I think Betances as a New York Met has concluded. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but he just hasn't been the same ever since he signed that contract.
Yeah, I know. It really does suck though. Like, it's unfortunate. We don't wish that on anyone, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely not.
You know, the guy used to have the crazy heater. He was an absolute. I hated him being so well with the Yankees. That's really how it went. And then unfortunately, we just could never see the same with the Mets, and I don't think that we honestly will. But I'm seeing some more questions in here, guys. Y'all trying to drop your MLB The Show account names in the chat. You guys surely can. I'm not going to because I just have not been active enough in the show. So once I get there, I'll gladly do that. But will we trade for Ramirez? So that's a good question, Henry. I've talked about Ramirez in the past, as you guys know. Jose Ramirez, the third baseman from the Indians. Well, if the Indians are clearly on the outside looking in the playoffs by the deadline, it would not surprise me if Ramirez is on the block at that point. Thing is, he'll be a hefty price. He'll be a big, hefty price. So in my mind, I think that Ramirez is a possibility. I think it's just kind of on the outside of looking in right now. So we'll see if any of that comes to fruition, but I wouldn't bet on it at this point in time. I hope so. I would love Ramirez on the Mets at some point. Him and Lindor reuniting their connection, that'd be awesome. But I do see that we have some people waiting here, so I'm going to bring them in now, and then we'll go from there. So, all right, so we have Jake in here. Jake, do you hear me?
Hey, Tyler. Hey, Richie. How's it going,
What's
guys?
up, Jake?
How's it going, my man? What's up?
I just wanted to ask your guys' opinion on the McNeil and Lindor kerfuffle. Do you think this was a one and done, or do you think we haven't seen the end of this?
Okay, so are you asking the sense of, do you think that we could see like something, a little bizarre happen between the two again?
Yeah, I'm a little reluctant to believe that it's all in the past. I don't think it's a big deal right now, but I think, in my opinion, we might see something come up a little later.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a great question. Again, Jake, thank you so much for chiming in, my man. Let's go Mets as always. So to answer that, me personally, I don't think it's the last we'll see of it, but I don't think we'll ever see it like this. I think it honestly made the relationship better. And maybe I'm holding too much stock in it, but literally after the game 2 with McNeil, Lindor jumped on McNeil in his presser and gave him a big hug. And then he looked at the camera and said, "It's a raccoon." It was a raccoon. And then after the first game 2, when they were joking about it, Lindor said, "I can gladly bring McNeil in my presser right now and kiss him if you want me to, like to tell that everyone everything's okay." So I don't think that's going to happen again to the same severity, but I think when you have a middle infield as star-studded as McNeil and Lindor, we're talking one of the best, if not the best middle infield in all baseball right now. When they butt heads, I feel like that's kind of going to happen often just because they're so passionate. They're two fantastic players. Lindor is a better defender, but McNeil ain't no slouch at second. We know that. He's a really strong glove. He's a great athlete too. So they're going to butt heads at times. I don't think it's the last we've seen of it, but I do think it's the last we've seen of something of this this size, of this, I don't know how else to say it, just to this length and actual fights that we will maybe hear of or assume. Would you agree on, or would you disagree on that, Richie?
No, yeah, he brings up a really good question because it's hard to predict the future, but I feel like both Lindor and McNeil are such high competitors, and we know Jeff McNeil better than Lindor, obviously, since he's been on the Mets for longer. He's a hothead. When he goes through slumps, he chucks his helmet to the ground. He has his emotions. He wears his heart in his sleeve. We know everything that's going through McNeil's head. So if something happens on the field where there's another miscommunication, I would expect McNeil to, maybe have a little verbal disagreement with Francisco saying, "Hey, you should have done this, you should have done that," or vice versa. So I don't think this is going to be the last of it, but I don't think it's going to escalate anything beyond the whole, what we saw Friday night when the entire Mets clubhouse was sprinting into the tunnel. I don't think it's going to escalate to that far, but you could expect, another disagreement in the middle of the infield, say the timing wasn't there or someone called for it. But I do expect the chemistry to get better and better throughout the course of the season. You guys got to remember, this is their first time playing together at short and second base. You need to have chemistry. You need to have timing to get those double plays intact. It's not easy. It's not just a sweep in the park where it's like, all right, we have the best chemistry in the world. Those two guys, especially Lindor, 4-time Gold Glover at short, Jeff McNeil, he hasn't been playing second base. That's his natural position. But for the past couple seasons, he's been playing all over the place, third base, outfield. So it's good to see Jeff McNeil in his natural position, and he's going to get better. He's getting more comfortable at that spot. So I do think that's going to be something to look out for. Obviously, it's going to be in the bright lights of the media, but I don't think it's going to it's never going to escalate to where it was, but that does not mean they're still not going to have the disagreements in the infield.
Oh, I agree with you. I think it's something that we'll see the disagreements continuing, but I just don't think it'll be just to the severity again. Oh, I see we have a name that I recognize right there. Daddy Demu TV, and I might be saying your name wrong. I apologize, but I know that you're another YouTuber as well. I'm pretty sure you do MLB The Show content, correct? Well, again, shout out to you, my man. Thanks so much for chiming in. Wait, so you're saying they didn't just see a New York Rat? Yeah, I know. I mean, hey, maybe I'm pushing here. I don't know. Maybe you're right. Okay, New York Rats are big, and they kind of look like raccoons given their size. So again, thank you so much for chiming in, my man. I appreciate you. Always love to see actual other creators here in the streams. As always, chiming in does mean a lot, my friend. Hello, buddy. So again, we have a couple more callers we're going to be taking, guys. So I see we got two people here. Let's see. Ben, do you hear me, my friend?
Yeah, I hear you.
What's up, Ben? How's it going?
What's up, buddy?
I'm doing good.
Oh, what question or comments do you got for me?
If the Mets, if they could make a trade for deGrom, what are you looking for?
If the Mets could trade deGrom, where would I want them to trade him?
Yeah, and what are you like?
Ooh.
Who do you want back? Prospect.
Ooh.
Yeah, so if we're trading Jacob deGrom, I would want their entire team because Jacob deGrom's not going anywhere. That man is ours. We are extending him. He wants to pitch well into his 40s, and I'm hopeful that he's a Met for life. I would not even consider trading him.
Okay, for me, I think there's only a couple players that are an exception, but it's led by this guy named Mike Trout. He's pretty good. So outside of that, there really isn't anything. And I feel like it's just sacrilegious to even keep the idea of that. But Ben, let me ask you as a counter, what player would you want for Jacob deGrom, as I'm assuming you're a Mets fan?
I'm not a Mets fan.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. That's probably why you want to trade him, right?
I was wondering. What fan are you of?
I like the Rockies, but we're not doing good, so I'm kind of just going for any other team that's doing good.
Oh, so you want Jacob deGrom? Is that what you're getting at?
Kind of.
I don't blame you.
I love that, Ben. Well, again, thank you, Ben. I appreciate that, buddy. Have a great rest of your week, my man. I'm wishing the best to your Rockies. Trevor's story's really good. I know that we don't know how long he's going to stay there, but, man, they do still have some good, young, strong talent there. So thanks so much for chiming in, Ben. And again, thanks so much to everyone that's been chiming in. deGrom would really look good in Braves colors. Yeah, I know. We can all dream, right? Okay, now let's get on to my man, Sports Media Mark. What is up, buddy? How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
What's up, Mark?
What's you got for me?
Well, deGrom probably went to the IL. I'm not happy about that. You hear the update?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we heard that news.
Yeah, not happy about that one bit.
I mean, at least
also with the Lindor, like people are complaining.
What was that about Lindor?
No, you go say it first. I'll say it after you.
Oh, yeah. With deGrom, I'm just happy. The good news is it's not like a long-term IL stint. It's not something like they saw something in MRI and it's something we should be worried about. It's more of the less like precautionary. I feel like they rushed deGrom back because he missed his first scheduled start and they threw him out there yesterday, which maybe, deGrom wouldn't go out there if he didn't feel anything, but obviously the lat is inflamed again. So the IL stint is not the best of news, but at the same time, they're being precautionary. This season is really long. And they need an extra roster spot. So for deGrom to go on a 10-day IL and just miss probably 1 or 2 starts is not the end of the world. So I'm just happy they're being precautionary because the worst case scenario would have been not putting deGrom on the IL, forcing him to come back, and then he gets injured even more and he's out for like months.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Anything else you want to add to that, Mark?
Oh yeah, like I saw your stream like an hour ago about Lindor, like superstars, like if they join a new team, like Richie said, they have to get in the rhythm. Like it doesn't like also Mets fans are getting really antsy. Like you gotta wait because like right now he's starting to get into his form again. But that's great. But I do not want to see him like go down again. But we'll see.
Oh, what? Just in general with deGrom going to the IL?
I think Lindor is talking about.
Oh, Lindor, my bad. Okay. I got thrown off for a second. So you're saying Lindor with his performance?
Yeah. Like
oh, okay, yeah.
Doesn't superstars who like join new teams like get in a slump for a little while, then they get it back again. That's usually what happens sometimes.
No, yeah, I feel you, man. It takes a while for a player to get accustomed to a new city And I know what you're saying, because there's definitely a big chance that he can slip right into a slump all over again, and then he gets booed, and then everybody thinks he's a bust, because that's the game of baseball. But, I think this is a big test for Francisco Lindor's mentality and him as a person, because the people that can really be great in this sport and any sport in the entire world are the ones that can deal with adversity. Because if you are, on top of yourself and you're pouting during your dark days and you don't improve, you're not great. I mean, that's what determines if you're great or a good player. And this is going to be a huge test for Francisco. We cannot just, crown him as, the guy that broke out of the slump after one series. I know that Wardy and I may sound like that because we're so excited that he's playing well, but he needs to show it for the next couple of series in order for us to really say Francisco Lindor is officially back.
Yes, exactly. What else can I say about that? Like, he's got to see what he does.
Exactly, man. Appreciate you, Mark.
I agree, Mark. I do. But again, Mark, thanks so much for chiming in, buddy. I see you in the chats all the time. So I wish you a great rest of your week. I hope to see you in streams going forward, my man. And as always, let's go Mets, buddy.
Have a good one, Mark. Appreciate you.
All right, guys. So that's going to do it for our actual callers for the Q&A today. So that's really going to wrap up today's stream, guys. Thank you so much to all my Mets and baseball fans that chimed in, guys. It really does mean a lot. So this was fantastic. We had a great time. I loved seeing all your comments, questions, and concerns, all that good stuff. So in a nutshell, the Mets look like that they're going to have a very interesting series coming up against the Orioles. So if you guys don't know, I will be live streaming that game on Tuesday. Hopefully I'll be doing a post-game stream as well. Please make sure to check that out. I think you guys are going to enjoy that. And then in post-game very well could involve guys like Draftneck Mark, his buddy James. I'm going to be reaching out to him, see if he would like to come on, and some others. So again, we'll see what happens, but there will be a lot of very familiar faces, a lot of guys that you guys know well throughout the YouTube and just overall Mets community through the post-game streams that we'll be doing for specific games throughout the year. So stay tuned for that, guys. Maybe we'll be starting Tuesday night following the actual in-game stream. And then Wednesday, I'll, of course, be actually at the game for 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 12:10, with Matt Harvey back on the mound. The return of the Dark Knight. How that go for the Orioles, I'm not sure, but I'm excited for that game. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I should have that vlog out later that day. So stay tuned for all that, guys, and stay tuned for streams coming later in the week regarding the Rays. Maybe we'll get individual videos in between as well, as long as my schedule allows it, and a lot of great stuff. So thank you all so much. And again, guys, this was fantastic. If you haven't subscribed and liked, please make sure you do. Help us get to 100 likes, means a lot. And also make sure to subscribe to my man Richie at Mets Media. He's doing a lot of great things here on Mets Media. Help him get a 1K subs. And also make sure to check out Knicks Media, Jets Media. The Jets just had a beautiful draft. They got their quarterback of the future, and the Knicks are balling out, and they're making playoffs. They just beat the Clippers. Oh, baby, that feels good. A lot of great things to talk about. He's got all the channels to check it out. So thank you, guys. And Richie, any last words before we get out of here, my guy?
Yeah, I appreciate you plugging on my channels. I just posted my recap video to the entire series of the Mets Diamondbacks. If you guys want to check it out on Mets Media, appreciate all the support on all my channels. You guys in the chat that, appreciate Wardy. The support's real, because without you guys in the chat, our channels does not live. You guys are the ones that breathe the air into YouTube. So we do appreciate you guys a lot. And stay tuned for more content on Mets Media and here on WardyNYM, of course. And let's go Mets, man. You got to believe.
You got to believe, baby. Let's go Mets. Talk to you guys soon.